Hello, this is Shannon reporting live. It is 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Oh, it's a new moon Wednesday, by the way, here in Pisces. And we are here to, hello. We're here to go live with Jason Bluette this afternoon, this evening. It's morning for him. Oh my gosh. Here we go. I'm going to invite Jason on. Have a little live together today. So I hope y'all can hear me because we got some birds. What's up, Ashley? I love it. Hello.
Version yet. I'm still working on it.
What was I right? It's like, what time is it? Where are we?
It's midday for me right now. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. It's lovely to see you.
Where are you? You look like you're in a beautiful space right now.
I'm in a beautiful space. I am in the Marin County. I am in Marin County at the moment. It's on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's gorgeous. Yes, and Ashley Christine Lee is amazing and she says lovely things about most people, but she's a lovely human and yes, it's beautiful. So, Jason, we're going to intro everyone to what we're going to be discussing today, and hello everyone who's joining. So, if you don't know who we are and you're joining from wherever you might be joining from, my name is Shannon. I am the co-founder of a company called thegreendoorlife, and we really are a education platform helping people to really tune into their body as it relates to nutrition, movement, and mindset. And inside of that, we have the honor to hold space for essentially sharing other coaches and practitioners who are passionate about what they do and opening up our network and sharing what these people do to really kind of highlight these modalities that most of us don't even know exist. And so this is so cool. And this is our second live doing with Jason. So if you guys didn't see the last one, you should check that all out because that was pretty cool. We talked about ritual, which is something I'm we both are very into. And so today we're going to talk about men's groups. And we are hosting a men's group led by Jason next Monday, and it's free. And so we get to talk about what this is and essentially why it's so, and then these are my words because I'll let Jason share with you more what his feeling is about it. But in my sense, I find that females usually have a little bit more of like this natural ability to kind of group together in more like a
Yeah, you guys got that down.
yeah, like a sacred seance way sometimes. Um, and sometimes for men, at least in the culture here in the US, it's almost like that there isn't that door, that it's not this accepted modality to really connect inside of a brotherhood circle. So, Jason, what is a men's group? What's a men's circle and what does that look like?
Yeah, thank you so much. I love these conversations. I really enjoyed our last chat, and I got a lot out of it. And it was great to connect with your audience. And for those who don't know online, hello, and well, good day for you all, and good day to the folks over in the US. And look, my name is Jason. I'm from a movement called the Primal Man Project. And really, at the heart of what I do is to help men go back to the way we would have been doing things a long time ago. The idea of the primal man is just this idea that as a species, as an amazing example of nature, we actually had a way it used to be. And it was integrated with nature, and it was doing things like sitting in a circle around a fire, sharing what was going on, sharing the challenges of life, sharing, we went on a hunt today and we lost someone. We grieve that process, and we would have had struggles and challenges and triumphs in our lives that because of the way we live, we are doing things in a really different way now. So we don't live in that integrated way. We don't live in tribe anymore. And so the work I do in the Primal Man Project is about recreating, often using the miracle of technology and Zoom, as we're going to be doing on Monday night for the guys in the US, is a space for, and the work I do is focused on men, space for men to communicate and to share and to break down some of those barriers that we put up and society's put up around this idea that men have to be tough, we have to be stoic, We have to have it all figured out, and we have to bear the burden and shoulder the weight of ours in solitude. And it's not the way we were designed. It's not how we evolved. It's not how our ancestors lived. It's not how I found an evolutionary biologist found. Actually, it's not the way. So the key idea in a men's circle, and Shannon, you put it beautifully, women communicate really well, I think, naturally. They naturally gravitate to connecting in with other people. They naturally gather together to communicate really well. Men, we need a little bit more support to do the same thing. And culture in Australia, I think probably similar to the US, has men being very silent about their challenges and being silent about things that are going on in their lives. But at its core, a men's circle is just a place for men to share what's really going on in their lives. Ups, downs, everything in between.
Thank you for that. And the thing about that is, I and it's really cool that we get to talk about this from different cultures, because you've had your earliest upbringing was in Papua New Guinea, right? And then you moved into the environment of Australia, and so you have this understanding of these two very different experiences as it relates specifically to emoting and to communicating and to sharing what's going on a deeper level. And then on my side as a female and over in the US, you know, I have like a very different perspective. And what I've actually just seen in my experience as being a woman and having relationships with men, both friendships and my father and my brother and relationships, is that there is this, just as you're expressing, there has been this this block against feeling comfortable to share what's actually going on, and not being able to share what's going on with even your male friends, your peers in that way. It's then that translates to everywhere else in your life, and if you can't share that in at least one space, then where does that go? Like, where does that energy go if you can't express it in some way? And so in your experience, when you find that that energy doesn't actually have like an outlet, what do you see as the almost like the impact of men when that's not expressed and when that doesn't happen?
Oh, that's such a great question. And thank you for sharing a little bit about my story. You know, I was born and raised in this incredibly rich cultural environment in Papua New Guinea. And what I grew up with is when we were kids, we were shown that place is a men's space, and you go there only if you've been initiated as a man. That creek down there, that's a women's creek. Don't go there. That's their special space. That's their sacred space to do their business. And this was a foreign idea as an Australian, European, growing up in Papua New Guinea. That was all so strange. Coming fast forward into my life in Australia, I had to deprogram all these things that I learned. Male intimacy, open expression of authentic emotion. You know, in Papua New Guinea, we were encouraged to grieve when we had funerals. People cried and were public in their displays of emotion. So authentic expression of what's going on and connection and community and tribe was something that was planted in me really early. And what I realized when I had to unlearn all those things coming to an Australian culture here for university and school is that it's actually really, it runs contra to the human design and to the thing that we were naturally designed to do. And you ask an amazing question. The impact on men in our country, in Australia, is that we have some of the highest rates of male suicide in the world. We have incredible rates of, very high rates of depression and anxiety. And even in the men who don't necessarily report that they feel this way, what's really consistent as a theme is men feeling like there's something missing in their lives. Something's not right. They have success in their career. They might be doing a great thing for their family. They might be working hard and hustling, but there's something missing. And that can often lead to a breakdown. People get to the end of when their families and their kids move out of home, and a lot of fly the coop, they find their relationships often break down, they find their material success no longer satisfies them. So the impact, to answer your question, is high rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide in men, and a general sense of a lack of meaning and purpose because something's missing. And what
Mm.
I've found from the work that I do is introducing community, introducing purpose into men's lives. Those things add a richness and a meaning to people's lives that they can feel like they can thrive rather than survive.
Yes. Yes. Jason and I are really big on purpose.
Your communities like come to me as the purpose guy.
Right, exactly. Yes, all the all of our community members have now know Jason as a purpose guy, which I would say there could be way worse things. So that's awesome.
For
Yeah,
sure.
and what was that?
Happy to be the purpose guy. That's a great take.
Yes, yeah, it can be your new t-shirt slogan. So one of the things inside of that is also, I think it's really hard, or at least from what I've seen, is it's really hard for people to even necessarily feel like they can contribute for a bigger purpose. Even I feel like, okay, I feel like sometimes we have a purpose of self-care. Like we really just need to shut everything else down and just really take care of ourselves, because if we can't take care of ourselves, it's very hard to take care of others, right? Kind of like that's like number one. But there's some individuals, and I find especially with men, and we were talking about this the other day, like men want to carry a burden. Like it's part of like that wiring of like, let me carry something, somebody. And if there is nothing for them to carry outside, and yet they're also depleted on the inside, then there's nothing to show up for. Right. And so I almost feel like there's these two elements. And the one is if there's nowhere to express what they're experiencing, there's nowhere to like authentically just allow anger, sadness, frustration, anxiety to just kind of like pour through in a safe space. And then on top of that, if they're not able to do that, and they're not able to take care of themselves in that way, then it's even more difficult to show up for the people in their lives that they want to carry something for. So it's this catch 22 from what I've at least seen with some of the men in my life, where it's really like, okay, they are in that state of deep depression. And when they move into, thinking about things like suicide and all of those kinds of conversations, it's like there's nowhere for them to share or emote or express, and it's not safe. And yet they're still giving everything that they have, almost to like fill that thing that is missing.
It's a beautiful analogy, and I think you've actually given me a great insight. Because it's almost two parts to the same coin, two sides, and that place of safety that men's circle creates
Mm,
is an ability for men to fill their own cup.
hmm
And from that place of overflow, from that place of abundance within themselves, that they have their mindset, that they have their health practices, that they have things within their lives that are being improved and optimized, from there to be in service and contribution to something bigger than just your job and your family is a
hmm
thing that can happen really easily, because they're filling themselves, they're filling up their own cup, and they're being held and they're being supported. And then they can do the thing in the world that they feel lights them up. They have that emotional energy.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's not just a place where we talk about our problems. A men's circle, which is, part of the misconception. We don't just sit around and say, oh, woe is me. There's
Mm,
actually a community of people who want to improve themselves. They want to work on what's not working in their life, but they also want to celebrate what's great. So in our
mm,
circle, we share what we're grateful for. It's the first thing we do. After
mm,
we do a drop in and bring men into space, the first thing we do is, whatever's going on in your life, what can you be grateful for? And
mm.
it's great. Gratitude as practice has really changed the game for me. It's a big deal for men that I work
Yes. And for all our Green Door Life people who are going to be watching this at some point, you know how we definitely combine science and woo woo. Like that's just what we do. So the frequency of gratitude really starts to shift where we place our attention. So I love that you're doing that. We do that inside of some of our group sessions as well, where we start with a win. Like, what can you congratulate yourself for? Like, let's start on the positive and start everything with a high note in that way. And when we can move into gratitude, it really does shift like how we see life. And the more that we do that more frequently, we start to actually look for the things that are going right and then start to improve on that. And then the other thing that I wanted to make sure that we're touching on is I feel, at least over here in the US, that sometimes like men's groups, men's circles mean for some men that something has to be wrong. And what we're talking about right now is that nothing has to be wrong. I see for men, as they really step into their full power, it's just coming fully into who they are in, I'm going to just use the like, in their kingdom, and in that natural authority that the divine masculine holds, which is I am allowing myself to be this giant space to hold, right? And if they can't hold their own emotions and feel safe to hold other emotions as well, and to express and to hold space for that as well, then it really does take away from like that sacred power that is there. And it really feels like there's so many. I mean, I've had the honor of watching some men in my life recently move into that sacred power on their own. And it's such a, first of all, for any men that are watching this, it's a sexy thing to see. When guys are stepping into their own power, I'm like, damn, that is hot. So I just want to, if any dudes watch this later, like step into your own power. It's a good thing. You're gonna attract some people.
And I have a lot. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Great to have you on. And yeah, I want to touch on something that you said when we talk about being in a men's circle. When I share the work that I do, men will often say, "No, I'm good. My life's pretty good right now." And my response is, "That's fantastic. Come and share that with people that may not be in the same place." And when we have an opportunity to share maybe what's working and what we've done well and what we're doing well in our lives, we have an ability to elevate others. It creates an incredible amount of feeling good and feeling like you're contributing to others. Science, oxytocin, serotonin. These things are all pro-social, pro-connection, pro-contribution, neurotransmitters in our brain. They make us feel fantastic. And it's so consistent when I have men who are high performers and they come into the space of a men's circle, they come out with more because they're more engaged and more willing to hear and listen to what may be able to optimize their lives. And the second part of the men's circle format is that we invite a space, we open the space for a man who has a challenge to share his challenge. And he shares from a place of brevity. So we talk about communicating as men, so we get to the point. We're not as exploratory in our communication style, potentially, as some of the feminine can be. Let's get to what it is that's your biggest challenge. And in that challenge, what we then do is create an opportunity for other men to share their experiences, to share their wisdom from a place of what they've been through, that might be able to lift that man up, that might be able to help him. And the stuff that we cover in Circle is as varied as we are as people. So everything from what's going on in your financial life, to your relationships, to your physical health, to maintaining positive habits, purpose, and anything that you can possibly imagine being of interest to men anywhere in the world, we cover. And inside of that, when men share what their practices and what they've learned and how they've grown, I'm taking notes in my own men's circle of the incredible wisdom that gets shared. So if you're looking for a space of optimization of your life, looking for a space of how to improve yourself, I'd almost say there's no greater space than a men's circle.
Oh, thank you for adding that. That was so valuable. And I just got this like kind of overwhelming like aha of like, why isn't everybody doing this? Because when you're pooling resources and ideas and thoughts, especially as it relates to finances or business or how you take care of your health or how you are in your relationship, it's like, I think this is really what we're kind of moving into as a possibility, especially with the internet and especially with our culture as we are evolving, especially out of the pandemic, where really having that connection with other people is so deeply valuable, but really having a container where you can share with people and maximize in this way of the collective understanding. Because what I love is that everyone's going to have a different point of view, a different experience, and we can learn from each people's experience. And what you were sharing as well was that when certain really high performers are then able to either hold space or share some of their experience, there's an energy exchange that can be so powerful and healing in both directions. And I feel like some high performers, some have a hard time or don't feel like they maybe want to, like, quote unquote gloat, say like I've done this and this is where I am right now. But in reality, they had to start somewhere, and a lot of them really had a hard path to get there, and it's really helpful for others to hear what that path is. And so in them sharing or even holding space for others, it's a powerful exchange in both directions. So I love that.
Couldn't agree more. And one of the things that comes back to the theme in the work that I do is that where we would have come from in our history, we would have had tribe, and in that tribe we would have had the younger, mature, elder men sharing wisdom, experience, how they stuffed up. We don't do that. That's not the work.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to share and up level all concerns. So people, we talk about always having someone mentoring and someone mentored by. And in the spaces that I hold, what I found is the people who are sharing their wisdom and sharing their experience often feel as good, even better than the men who have received that support and received that. And then, and then the final piece that we do in our men's circle, like we talked about, sharing win. We have a culture in Australia, I don't know about the US, you probably have a little bit different. We have this thing called the 12 poppy syndrome. And when people achieve and succeed in life, it's part of our culture that we need to chop people down. And it's a pretty toxic way of being. It's a pretty unhealthy way of doing things. So in the space that I hold, we create a space where you can authentically celebrate yourself, an attribute about your character, or something that you've achieved in life, because there are actually so few places that you can authentically be witnessed in that and not feel like you're just hashtag living best life on Instagram and liking and trying to find likes and followers. It's, hey, these are my respected brothers or respected men in a space. I'm going to celebrate myself. And people will see that authentic celebration on a personal level. And it's not arm's length, it's not anonymous likes, it doesn't feed that light level of dopamine hit that you get. It actually goes really deep to feel and see men celebrate each other. Like, we were not designed to be living in bubbles, trying to do this life on our own. And everything that I see from the sharing of the space that I hold is that there is no downside to sharing. There's no downside to leveling up and leveling others up. There's no downside to expressing your challenge. So my personal belief is that every man on this planet, especially anybody in a Western country where community and tribe are not features, should be in some description.
Yes, I agree. Mm-hmm. Yes, I definitely agree. I know a couple of men that signed up for Monday already. So
Yes.
I'm very excited. I'm especially excited for one in particular, because I think you guys are going to get along very well. And this individual specifically is also going to the retreat, which, if you guys who are watching don't know, Jason is also going to be one of the facilitators at the retreat that we have in April. You guys don't know about this and you are interested or whatever, if you're like, want to have like take care of your body, hang out with cool people, all inclusive, free beaches or something, you can check it out in the bio.
I'm so
I
pumped
just
to be coming over. I'm so pumped to be coming over and joining you. Flying all the way over from Australia, from Brisbane, Australia, to come to join you guys. It's going to be incredible. And for anyone who's considering coming to the retreat and maybe events about Monday is going to be an opportunity to share a little bit about the work that I do, get a sense of what I'm excited about some of the men from your community, coming in to experience what some of the men's work energy brings to a person's life. And yeah, I just wanted to say just a shout out and an invitation to all of the beautiful women in your community. If you have a brother, if you have a father, if you have a man in your life who you think benefit from being around men and being in a space where he can be compelled and witness and also share and improve his life, then love to have him along. And all men, anyone who identifies as a man is welcome in.
Yes, beautiful. You were cutting out on my end for a second there, but I hope it's not, I hope it's just me. And I feel like intuitively I understand what you were saying, but so you're making a call to action, essentially. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, I apologize if we've lost a bit of connection there. Basically, come to the men's circle. If you know a man who will benefit from that, love to have you along. It's going to be a great space.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just really, I'm excited for what you're already doing, and I'm excited for what's to come. You can see that it's almost 7 here as the light has been disappearing behind my head. I'm like, oh, I need to find more light. Oops, I didn't think this through. But it's always so fun to have these conversations with you because I just love how they kind of meander and we just cover some really powerful topics. And I think more than anything, I'm really appreciative of that. And also, I'm really appreciative of you doing the work that you do because I understand how valuable it is. And I really do feel like maybe a couple of years ago, it was kind of like women were starting to come into their divine feminine. And then I feel like in the last, 6 months to a year, I've really seen men come into that position. And like I said, as a female, I've been living in a masculine way in owning a business for quite a while. And then moving into my feminine, all I can say is I have so much respect for men and I have so much respect for the strength that it takes to balance out both being receptive and being driven. Because those two things usually are opposing forces, but when we're able to harness both of them, whether we are female or male, we are incredibly powerful. And I feel that with you, Jason. I feel that balance with you. And it's such a beautiful thing to be in the presence of. And as a relationship to that, you and I have this connection that I probably won't have with most men who aren't already sitting in their power, right? That we're able to kind of communicate and hold space for each other in that way. So I only see amazing things for men as they start to further go into the experience of, I'm going to step into my kingdom, my authentic power. And that doesn't mean that it's weak. That means that it is ultimately strong. And I'm just so grateful that you're doing what you're doing. And I'm so stoked that you're going to be at the retreat. And these are so fun. I love doing these lives with you.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I really just deeply received that. I enjoy these conversations. They generally tend to go like this, which I think is great flow and great alignment. And thank you for the acknowledgement in the work that I do. I think you see me and you see my work so deeply, and I think that's a reflection of your journey, how you come into alignment with yourself. And I just want to honor you. I feel the same way. I feel that you are such a beautiful alignment between masculine and the feminine. I see you achieving and creating, doing so much. But then in every conversation I've had with you, in all of our interaction, there is so much space and so much flow and so much feminine balance and softness. It's really quite amazing to see. And I continue to be inspired by you and Lisa and all of the team. I'm so grateful that we came into contact.
I know. It's ridiculous.
And I just want to say deep gratitude. Thank you so much for showcasing the work that I do. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share it with more people and to share it with your community. I really do feel honored to invite it into the space, which I know you hold so sacredly and such.
Mm,
Grateful for the conversation.
thank you. It's so mutual. And for anyone watching, this is what acknowledgement and receiving acknowledgement can look like, which is such an amazing thing. Thank you very deeply. It's so mutual. This is going to be good. I'm so stoked. It's going to be so good. Okay. We are going to sign off for now. Again, if you would like to join the men's group on Monday, you can go into our bio in the Green Door Life. Sign up RSVP. Again, it is free. If you guys have interest in actually joining the collective of the feminine and the masculine at a retreat, you can also check that out in our bio as well. And whoever feels in alignment, we're very excited to see you. We have some pretty stellar humans that are going to be joining. So we're so stoked. So stoked. It's so good. Okay. Thank you so, so much. Have a fabulous night.
Thank you, Shannon. All the best, everybody. See you guys soon.
All right. Good night. Good morning. I mean, afternoon.